Welcome to No Strings Attached Street Ministry. Well, today I'm sort of taking a break, believe it or not. Just worn out. I don't know if any of you've ever dealt with, drug users or abusing, people that's in abuse and things that need people that need a lot of attention and a lot of, support and help. The things they do to you, and the way that they take advantage of you and use you. You just sort of get tired. I know it's most of the drugs, and they're always forgiven in my eyes. But sometimes I think we just have to sort of take a break and recoup ourselves, because it gets pretty tough out there, to deal with their problems as heavy as they are. Because it's not just that one problem. It affects their entire life, their living arrangements, their children's arrangements, their family, their extended family, even the community, that they're around and they live in. Then you have too many people trying to control them, narcissistic type, people, they're pimps or they're drug lords or whoever, is involved in their life. Someone's always got an attachment to them and it keeps them reeled in. And then the frustrations of the things especially the girls, the frustrations of the things that they have to do or, just to survive. It's sad to watch and see that. But what's really bad is to see how the world that's out there is so willing to take advantage of them and to abuse them to get what they want. Which, they cause a lot of it themselves, don't get me wrong. Both sides are at fault, but yeah, they're mostly the fault. They make promises and things, to get what they want, and then they never follow through or something, and that hurts someone's feelings or whatever the situation is. That's why their relationships and their friendships just cannot survive. It's because they're not willing to stick up to their word. They'll overdo and they'll go against you and hurt you. They'll do anything and everything they have to do to get their drug, which makes it extremely hard to deal with. So, one's tough enough, and I can blame, how hard it is for any of them, I can see how that would really make a major difference for just dealing with one family member or a wife or a husband or, or a child that has that problem. I understand, I get it, that it wears you down, and it can. But think about what I go through. I've got anywhere from 6 to 15 of these people, that is doing this. Just to keep up with them is a major task. I don't know how I do it, honestly. I don't know how I could even provide for them the way that I have. It's just nothing but a miracle in its own. God's been good to all of us. He's looked over all of our shoulders. He has. He's watched after us all, including me. Because we definitely need it. As long as we're trying, as long as we're doing the best that we can do to help each other and love each other. It's not always about who's right or wrong, or God doesn't judge us in that way or that manner. He judges us in the way that we love somebody else. And if we care enough and love that person and and help that person. Blessings come back to us as far as I've ever seen it work. But of course, then again, then you have the devil steps in and kicks you in the teeth as well. He's jealous of what you're doing. He doesn't like what you're doing. You're messing with his world. They've got them. He's got them trapped in bondage, and you're over there sawing away on the chain that's holding them down. So they expect to have some wrath for doing that, if you know what I mean. So it's that wrath that wears me down. I can handle the stuff I see coming at me, but when you have stuff that comes at you and blinds you and hits you from the blind side, that's the ones that takes your feet and your breath away from you. Say a prayer for all the ones that I'm dealing with right now. I mean, it's pretty tough for them. I mean, it's like just like Christy, the girl that we had in the video last time. She went through her rehab. It was only 4 days or 5 days. So I went down, picked her up. She seemed like a whole different person. She was. And I mean, I don't know how she is. I hadn't seen her in a couple of days. But I took her back to where she was staying, to a home, to where they found out that she's been evicted. She had I think it was 24 or 48 hours to be gone. She went into her room, and every single thing she owned, even her dirty underwear, was stolen. That just blows my mind, but sure enough, that happens quite often, believe it or not. They steal each other's phones, and the thing is, you got to understand what's going on. No one can pay for a home or an apartment by themselves these days, especially single girls, single families, single kids, men or women. If you ever get to notice how the economy is working right now, you find kids that are all the way up to 40 years old, basically, that hasn't joined together and gotten married and together work on the world's problems together. All the other ones, they're lost. I mean, they can't survive on their own. I mean, unless they're making a major amount of money, they just can't survive. I mean, they've got to go usually 5, 6, sometimes 10 people living in the same house, just to be able to even come close to paying the bills. And when you do that, this is not friends. These are just strange people that they're living with, and they don't even know who they are. And then it's usually drug addicts, or there's always a twist in the bunch, which makes it really hard because now everyone else is all twisted up as well, and they fight amongst each other, and they call the law on each other, and it's just, you can imagine the kind of mess that's there. Of course, then you have little pods of different kinds of kids, that are all sort of hangs around or knows each other for years. But they're just as scrambled in their brains as well, in the way that they are. You got a lot of single mothers these days with kids, and they're bringing those kids into this kind of environments because they can't survive or, to pay their bills in that manner either. Even though they get some support from the government, usually. But then again, it just depends on if their ex-husband or whatever, is their baby's daddy, is paying his child support or whatever, because they're surely not together, that's for sure. But it's just so sad how they don't even have any kind of respect on any kind of relationship these days. So it makes it really hard, to see what in the world's going on. But anyway, figured I'd just come on and give you a sort of upside, an update on that. Anyway, Christie's, I haven't heard from her in a couple of days. Apparently, they've got evicted. I haven't seen her or talked to her. I don't have no clue what happened or where she's even at right now. So I just hope and pray she's trying to figure it out and staying away from the drugs as well. But my advice to her was to, to get her into a 30-day program somewhere. But apparently, with the new COVID things, they don't even have that anymore. Even in detox, they don't have just detox anymore. They put them in even with the crisis people. The crisis people that are brought in from the jails and everything else. I mean, you can't mix these people together. They're just totally, I don't know, they're crazy. I know I've got a few of them that I deal with too. I mean, it's like bipolar is a demon in its own, I feel, And if you've ever known anyone with that kind of disease, especially if they think that they're better and they're not taking the meds, they can get pretty tough to deal with. I mean, I love them dearly, and I know that it's just because they're not on their medicine. Trust me, I understand that. I get it, and I do everything I can. I've Baker acted many of them. I mean, I don't know. I just wish these programs would straighten up. I mean, it's a shame to see how our government is basically just abandoned these people. I mean, you don't have the crazy houses like you used to. Remember when we grew up, we had all the psych wards and things, Now, you know what they do with the really crazy ones? The government pays for them for 90 days. Literally. After 90 days, since the government is not paying for them, they load them all up into vans and buses, and they ship them all the way up here to Port Charlotte. Dump them off in the streets. Because Port Charlotte is lax or kind to the homeless, basically. So that's what they do. They'll throw them all off, but these are the really crazy ones, the ones that you walk around talking to themselves all day long. Those kind of people, So they usually dump them off in front of one of the churches there that I know, and they wander the streets, literally wander their streets until the police picks them up again. I think they have to be out like 24 or 48 hours or whatever till the police rearrest them, and re-Baker Act them or whatever they have to do. And then they haul them back down there and they'll stack them and rack them for another 90 days because that's how the payment of the government works. Instead of just leaving them in there and having them stable. You imagine what these people go through, sitting on the road. I've seen them dump off people in wheelchairs. They can't even walk. They roll them off on the street, on the sidewalk, and say, "Here you go." And you do that to someone out in the middle of, in the middle of summertime or whatever. I mean, that could kill them, but they don't care. That's the kind of nonsense that I see and I have to deal with. And then the policeman gets frustrated. They get aggravated with it too, and they want to keep them moving. As people, landowners and things are complaining that they're squatting on their properties and things, and there's a lot of vacant lots in this area. So that's why I guess they're all here, in this area. It's because they have a lot of places that they can go and hide. But of course, the neighbors down the street, it's not fair to them neither. I understand it. I get it. But so the police go in there but they always go at 3 o'clock in the morning. They run them out of the camp. They run them out of camp without anything. They're not allowed to take anything. They walk away, make them walk away and start walking the streets. And while they're gone, they bring in either a dumpster or they'll bring in a truck or whatever, and they'll load everything up. Or if they don't do that, they'll literally take their knives and cut the tents and everything all to shreds. And just to where they can't use them. it's hard on me. I had a hard time with that for a long time because I was paying for these tents. I would buy sometimes 50 to 75 tents a month. I mean, and it's just not fair, for me to spend my money that I work hard for, and then to see the government, to see the policemen come in there and just literally cut them up and shred them. I mean, and then I have to go back out and do them again. Then I was talking to one of the captains there, and I was really giving him hell about it. And I was talking to him, why did they do that? He says, well, really, a lot of it is mostly health reasons. So what are you talking about, health reasons? Well, the problem down here is, Florida has an extreme amount of humidity and moisture in the air anyway. I mean, it's ridiculously humid and muggy. And when you set a tent like that up in the middle of the woods somewhere, I mean, just in a few weeks or a month, I mean, you have mold growing inside of it, and their pillows and their sheets and anything else that they come up with, their backpacks. All this stuff is just, saturated in this mold, which really, I mean, and mold can get you deathly sick. So I sort of understand what they're doing, I sort of understand what's going on. Sorry about that. There's a bunch of guys working over here, and they just decided to have a conversation right next to my car. But anyway, yeah, it gets pretty hard on them when they're dealing with the amount of sickness they have to go through, especially with the mold. It's pretty bad, and I get it. I understand it, because even the people like at the thrift stores and stuff that helps them in the churches, it gives them free clothing and things like that. They want them to change their clothing as well, because they understand the same purpose. So they try to always have used blankets or sleeping rolls or something made up. Sleeping bags, they come and go. Sometimes they'll have good amounts of them around. I mean, I've bought 10, 20, 30 at a time. But they can get pretty expensive as well. So but luckily down here in Florida, you can get by with and keep them fairly warm with just the little cheap ones that doesn't have to have a lot of insulation value. I mean, it's not like you're up north, having to deal with the ones up north, where it has to be in sub-zero degree weather. It's basically just to keep the dew and everything off of them and to keep them safe that way. So, a lot to go through there, but I don't know. Once in a while, I have to sort of step back just to get a breather and download, if you know what I mean. Just to, release and just regroup, I guess, and just get my wits back, because if I break, it's all breaking. So, I have to sort of protect my own mind and, my, thing too. They abuse me to death, really tough. I'm sure glad I don't carry my feelings on my sleeve, because it can sure be knocked down and tore up almost hourly. So, but that's an update there to give you an idea. Economy's still crap. It's still in shambles, just like everywhere else, I'm sure. Food's getting harder to find. Any kind of help. I haven't seen anyone else out there. Used to you'd see churches or whatever have little groups, would go out and help in there. I don't see any of them out there on the streets anymore, and which is sad. It almost makes me feel almost lonely. I feel like I'm the only one trying to battle this evil in the world. But I'm sure there's others out there that's doing what they can to help too, but I just don't see those. I don't see them much. And I can understand, I mean, if everyone else is in their donations and stuff and their incomes has fallen like mine has, I can see why they don't. I mean, but I've just been so committed for 20 years of doing this. I've seen too many miracles. I've seen too many faiths. God has proven Himself to me over and over and over, and I just have to be loyal. I can't stop. If God asks me to do something, I'm going to do it. Period. Even if it takes every single last breath, last penny that I have to my name, I'm going to do it, no matter what. Because I know I'll build rewards somewhere. Even if it's not here, I'll build it in heaven itself. And that's fine, because that's where I want to go anyway. But, I mean, just this week, I had my life threatened once again, Guy told me he was going to put a hole in my head. You just have to laugh about it, I mean, what they don't realize is that I'm well defended myself, I think once he realized that, it sort of shocked him, coming from a pastor. I mean, I'm humbled and I love him to death, but I'm not stupid. No, I deal with a lot of really mentally crazy people. I deal with a lot of people that think they're just badasses, because of what they do or the gist of it all. I don't deal with that nonsense. I'm straightforward who I am, and I'm going to tell you exactly where I stand. And either you take it or you don't. And if you don't take it, then you're going to pay a price for it, trust me. It's just the way life is. I mean, I've grown up too old that way. I've been around a few times in this world, but anyway. Yeah, at that point, that's when it's time for me to take a step back, take a break, calm down, release myself, get myself back in order, build my coffers up, build my mental strength back together. Because honestly, there's a lot of people out here who would take advantage of you, and they don't care. They're out to take advantage of you. They're out to steal everything that you could possibly offer to anybody, and they'll finagle and lie to you and abuse you until they get everything they want. And then once they get what they want, drop you like a hot cake. You're nobody to them, and they walk away. But that's the business. That's what we have to deal with out here. So, but there's a lot of people that you do help and you do good for that, they're very appreciative. And I think that's what keeps me going, because I still see some very good miracles and very good progress with a lot of them. And that's what keeps hope in my heart. I mean, it's a cruel, cruel world. But it's amazing how the devil runs his disguises and hides his wolves right in the middle of the sheep, But anyway, stay calm out there. Love you guys. All the information, if you'd like to help, I'll put all the information down in the description. Feel free to help me out, anything you can do. But make sure you hit like and subscribe there. I really want to build this channel back up. At least I could get AdSense, But I got to get maybe another one that goes viral, like my Van Life Sucks video. I mean, it did really well there for a long time, and all of a sudden it just turned off, It was just crazy how that happened. But I don't know, hopefully I'll attack the YouTube wizards, I guess. Maybe they can like sprinkle their fairy dust over me or something, Whatever. God bless you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.